I feel like we're ready to do 6 minutes of speed dating. The Thathangathay Foundation is a foundation based on developing Indigenous leaders, primarily from remote communities. We work with the community of Bright in northeast Victoria and the Wadeye community up in the Northern Territory. Now, the word Thathangathay is a Murupatha word that means the woolly butt flower, which is a very strong symbol and totem from the Kadu-Diminan people. It reflects the energy and the power of the people from that community. So whilst it's very difficult to pronounce, and we have a lot of fun with that when we go to events like this, it's very, very important to us as who we are. Many of you will have heard about closing the gap and the statistics based around Indigenous Australians. I'd like to take you on a more personal journey and see if we can explore it in a little bit more detail. This young man before me, who looks extremely nervous, is Nama, or Dallas Magara. Nama is an initiated Wonga man from the remote community of Wadeye in the Northern Territory. He speaks 5 different languages. He has worked as a tour guide. He has worked as a language assistant and has also worked as a teaching assistant. He is an incredibly capable young man, and by sheer chance it is his 21st birthday today. That's 30 seconds of clapping here. Now, you'd think with those sort of prospects, he's got all the languages and everything going for him, you'd think that the world would be at his feet. Let's take a look at the reality of what's facing a young man from a remote community like Wadeye in the Northern Territory. Dallas is looking at a life expectancy of about 47. He's 10 times more likely than you and I to die from a preventable disease. In his 3-bedroom home that his family lives in, there are 21 people living, plus dogs, and everybody sleeps on mattresses on the floor, along with the cockroaches, the lice, the fleas, and everything else. The kids who live in the home with Dallas and surrounding homes, his family, go to school rarely. The opportunities are there, but it's very hard for them to see a connection between education and employment. If they were to look at employment, the unemployment rates for the community are at about 44%. Now, if you took work for the dole out of that, they would rise into the 70s. The prospects are not fantastic, and our program is about trying to change those sort of things. If those sort of statistics were happening in a suburb in Melbourne, we would be taking a whole different approach to it. If we don't actively support and encourage empowerment and provide the Indigenous people of this land with quality and informed choices, then the gap will never truly close, and the erosion of language and culture will become irreversible. Despite huge volumes of taxpayers' dollars and incredible amounts of goodwill, we still in many cases fail to ask, listen to, and work with people we are trying to help. Why is our foundation different to others? What do we do that's different? Our foundation is community owned and governed. The people who make the decisions about what we do and how we go about it are the Indigenous people. We make mistakes through empowering young people in our program. I won't deny that. But by making mistakes, we learn just as much, if not more, than the successes that we have along the way. The only person who can really make a massive difference and make a real impact on those statistics we were talking about is Nama himself. Through empowerment, through support, and through being given a chance, he can change those outcomes and have a massive impact on what his future may look like. Now we're going to try something different, and I'd like Nama to ask you a couple of questions. I don't think they understood you, mate. You might want to try that in Creole. There's a little bit of English in there.
What do you know of hand long your head?
I still don't think they're getting it. Try.
Your hand long your head.
Maybe try in English.
Can everyone put their hands on their head? This is what it's like for us trying to learn what people want to teach us at school or at training for a job. It is hard, isn't it? Yeah. Without the language, we fade into the dust. But we need your help to help the people understand what this looks like today and in every different places. And you know, to understand each other, we can make a difference together instead. Our partnerships with the community, with Doomu Balcony Cafe, are about creating opportunities and creating future leaders. We are committed to training in first language, to training the trainer so that our outcomes can be beneficial, can be long-term and can affect lasting change. We're not just creating people to work in the hospitality trade, we're creating people who can be role models for their families, people who can have an impact that can spread right throughout the community. And this is where you come in. With your hard-earned money and your generosity, if we get $15,000, we can employ a trainer to work with these kids in our cafe or our partnered cafe in Bright for 6 months. If we get $30,000, we can do it for 12 months. We have no worries at all or no delusions about how effective we can be. We achieve over an 80% success rate. All we're asking is that you come along for the ride and see what sort of change we can make. And just in closing, it would be great if you can help us.